great. You have to be willing to activate the great from within. It starts with you, and it starts right now. Good morning, folks. Tyler Davis and Greg Thomas here once again.
Oh, yeah. Back at it again.
For sure.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to rock, man. Grateful to have another week, man.
For sure. So funny now, like with the good and bad things, like some of the stuff we've been talking about and some of the things I've been listening to and checking out and educating myself on. It circles back to that whole detachment freedom thing we've talked about before. And, man, it's really freeing. Like, you know, just to kind of see something for what it, you know, not having an assessment necessarily, you know, not being attached to an assessment.
Yes, diving deeper in that perception loop thing has been so liberating for me on a few different things going on in my world.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there's been so much that can be taken just from the acknowledgement that it's a thing.
The check mark.
It's a real thing. Like before you spend too much time in your mind bouncing around, we found out last week too, where we kind of tethered it in, like bring it into the heart, right? Bring it into one. You know what I mean? Instead of having it bouncing around your mind, just go to the nucleus right there.
There it is.
You know, and that whole other brain, you know, that we have.
And the one that you should be leaning into more often than you are.
It makes it a lot easier, right? I've noticed a lot less indecision.
Yeah.
You know, like the ping ponging thing.
Well, it's like if you want to call it that gut feeling, that's that's the voice speaking into your heart. Mm-hmm. It's just a lot of times we block it, and for what reason? Because we think we know better.
I don't know that it's intentional.
No,
because you don't know the value. If you fully understood, you know, the value that it brings. Yeah. You know, you would do it differently. I would imagine so. If you want to get to a spot where, you know, you're just not in your head all the time, it's it's good stuff. It's just things to play with, you know, and I think we forget that honing in on it's a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely.
That's the fun.
Right.
Is you get to hone in on it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a daily application, and we're there again. Remember, we're looking for small incremental improvement. You know,
compound
we're
effect.
Not moving a mountain.
No.
You know, 1 to 3%. And you're just going in the right direction. You're keeping that momentum going, that perpetual motion, permoti.
Yeah, man.
We like that, right?
Yeah, keep your
fun.
foot on the gas.
Exactly. So, you know, I think it's going to be really good for folks to kind of have a little reminder of what you can latch onto, you know, kind of in the vein of the controlling the controllables.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
You know, so today we're going to talk about 3 things no one can ever take away from you.
And that's so much power.
Oh, yeah.
You can find such a source of power in these things.
Oh, for sure.
If you can take them for what they are.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Recognize them.
Yeah, and you know, and not discount it.
Yes.
Because I think we minimize some of this because we see the world as we are. Like, well, everybody should, you know, do this X, Y, and Z, or have this, or have that, or be aware of this, or be aware of that.
Well, and that right there for me is part of the problem. It's not about what's going on out there, what nobody else is doing. What are you doing?
Yes.
Start with you. Like, can you sit in silence with yourself?
Yes.
And acknowledge what's going on between your ears.
That's it. You know, it's a way to get granular without overthinking.
Well said.
That's what we're going to do. So let's just get after it. So number 1, and this is something, I will outwork you. I don't have a problem with it. Determination and hard work. No one can take that from you.
No, they
nobody.
Can't. It's a decision. I've said this to other people that I'm getting ready to go do a workout with. I'm like, hey, a couple things are going to happen here. And it's the same thing Will Smith said.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're going to go in this room. I'm either going to outwork you or I am going to die trying.
That's it.
Simple as that. So get ready.
It's like, you know, it's a burning thing. Like, you know, like not leaving things undone. That one more rep, that one more call, that one more fulfilled commitment.
Right. Commit to the commitment. I mean, but it goes so much further than that. It's the little things that, I mean, you and I have discussed. I mean, it's like leaving the drawer
just
open.
Just a little
bit,
yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not going to walk away and leave that like that.
If you're getting caught up in your head and things are ping-ponging around, you can come back to this baseline. Look, I work hard.
Right. And it's instilling a core set of values within yourself and that determination and keeping that fire lit. Because like you said, nobody can take it from you and nobody can give it to you.
Now, here's the caveat, right? I mean, this has been kind of a new thing, right? Let's not confuse movement with progress either, okay? Going out and sweating a lot and not doing anything effective is not what we're talking about, right? You know, being determined and stacking that with hard work, okay? Determined kind of is like, you know, you don't want to assume a plan, but you want to have something mapped out to be fully. If you're really determined, you're going to map it out.
Right, and attention to detail.
For sure.
If I could say, because I mean, in that example, it's like, man, you can go run 5 miles, but if you go smash a pizza afterwards, like, hey, it's counterintuitive, counterproductive.
Yeah, don't put yourself in the the crosshairs of the justification station, right? But determination is vision. You're mapping things out in your mind. You know what you want, and then you're gonna go work hard and get it because you realize nothing is promised. No one owes you anything.
Nothing.
This is a whole entitlement piece. I'm seeing it's sickening. It's like a disease.
Yeah.
It's above your mind. It's this consciousness, this cloud that never leaves you alone.
Yeah.
And that's where the victim vortex likes to hang out too.
Right. Yeah, we're not entitled to any of it. No. Success is rented, and rent's due every day.
Every day. So number 2, compassion for others. Right?
That's a big one. That's a big one.
It's tough because you have to slow down.
Well, yeah.
Right? And to say that I've excelled at this over the years would not be accurate, but I like where I'm at now.
Right.
Like what I've learned from the time that I wasn't, living up to my potential, if I will.
And that says a lot right there, because we're all evolving. Because kind of like you said, we're all in a state of movement.
Sure.
It's our daily habits and our thoughts and our consciousness will either move us forward or backwards.
Sure.
Progress versus movement.
Well, and you made me think of something you said before too, is like progress over perfection when it comes to compassion. Like, look, you can get a little bit better at this every day too.
Yes.
You don't have to be the perfect, confidant or shoulder to cry on or best hugger or, you know what I mean?
Right.
You can, but it's the effort, you know what I mean, that you're putting forth, and to having compassion for others isn't a cop out. You still, matter of fact, if you find a way to articulate it properly, you can address whatever needs to be said, but maintain a minimum baseline of compassion. Like, hey, look, this, making it an attack. Well, when you're trying to address some stuff, that just doesn't work.
That's the art of crucial conversations. But it starts with having compassion and genuinely speaking to them from a place of, I want to help.
Sure. Like, hey, here's the reality of this situation. I just don't have to be brash about it.
Yeah. As you've said, it doesn't have to have teeth.
No, but mine used to, man. I was like, retract the claws, Thundercat. You know what I mean? It was a little.
But we do
tense.
what's normal, because there are certain situations, or whether it's from our past or whatever, has ingrained that in us.
Yeah, you wake up, you have a certain kind of segue into our next topic here, but you have like a consciousness for what you don't want, right? You just like,
right.
That doesn't serve me anymore. Snapping off and doing it this way, and it just doesn't work. I'm not gaining sustenance from this anymore. I don't need this form of indirect protection.
Right.
Right.
It doesn't feel good anymore.
No, and you're not achieving anything with it.
Right.
Again, you're not getting any sustenance from it. So just bit by bit, just lift your awareness, right, to compassion for others, and hey, how's this going to come across? I don't need to just drill it down so hard. I can still make my point and stay centered.
Yeah, because as you've said, use the hashtag.
Yeah.
Use that. I mean, that's so powerful. If you guys aren't doing that, do it. Catch yourself, because this consciousness and awareness to the fact of the shifts that need to be made.
Oh, for sure. It's part of the 1%, club. I mean, like if you're willing to do this and stay disciplined just to catch yourself and be aware, you're getting into the 1% club.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah.
Maybe even the 1% of the 1%, just by being willing to acknowledge things, and have grace with yourself, like we talked about a lot. So again, have compassion for others. And that starts with grace too, right? Kind of circling back to that. And lastly, consciousness, being aware of what you're doing, why you're doing it, what are your triggers, what are the things that are holding you back from just growing and evolving and moving the needle, getting centered, coming back to the current where things are good and things flow.
Yep. A lot of times we know what we don't want, but we don't make ourselves aware of what we actually do want.
Sure.
So then it makes it hard to gauge any of this stuff.
Yes, for sure. And an awareness standpoint, it's a willingness to reflect.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because how often, let's say we go out to eat or something like that, and we see somebody or overhear a conversation, and we start, we know we don't like that, but what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing with ourselves? Like, are you aware of what you're perpetuating the situation?
Well, you're sending out a vibe, like from last week, like whether you know it or not, you're radiating something.
Right.
Okay? What is it?
Yeah.
Let's be aware of what kind of signal we're pumping out there, literally.
Right. Like, hey, I do that too. Oh, dang. It
Hey.
sounds way different when it's coming in than it does going out.
I would even venture to say, and I've said this before, if something annoys you about what you see someone do, a part of you does that, and what you really don't like is that you're seeing how other people view it, and you don't like it because you do it too.
Boom.
Yeah. Come on. I was guilty too. Okay.
We all are, man.
Yeah. So, whatever. That's what this is about, though. It's not about, casting stones. It's about, hey, let's bring everybody, let's hone in on this.
Man, so many times people will, I'll have conversations or comments or whatever, and I always like to, we're all in it together. I say that over and over because I genuinely mean that.
For sure.
Like, it starts with one individual can change one community, can change one state, can change one nation. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Oh, for sure.
If we just work on ourselves, work in as much as you work out.
Yeah, it kind of bottom line it a bit, right? Start with you. Start understanding why you do what you do. What makes you upset? What makes you happy? What brings you joy? What does not?
Yeah.
Understand why and get to the root of it.
For real.
And don't be in a hurry with that assessment either.
No, it takes time, man.
It takes time, though, and it's going to change and it's going to morph and all these things, so yeah.
Yeah, man. It takes a minute to peel things back.
Well, and
be realistic with yourself as you become more conscious and aware that you might not enjoy the process all the time, but you got to trust the process.
That's it. And you don't need to don't seek, validation.
Right.
Just kind of roll.
Don't focus on the destination, because whenever you look up, there's a horizon. So, but if you keep moving, progressing forward, you're going to look up. Guess what? There's a new horizon. That's how we evolve.
Well, yeah, you just have a lot more to be aware of.
Yep.
And a good vibes kind of thing. So, what are we going to do with this stuff, right?
How are we going to use it?
How are we going to use it? Well, one, we're going to remember the barrier of entry for these is paper thin.
Super thin. Everybody can do it.
You can do it.
Right.
You'll be the change you want to see in the world kind of thing, right? Like, remember that. Remember, you can do this and activate this now.
Yeah, you have a lot more control over things in your world than you realize you do.
Well, yes, you're right. And so, in that vein right there, you can control this, right? So when things are going crazy and you feel like you don't have control of your mind, hone in on some things. Hey, am I doing this? Or, am I working hard? Did I work hard? If I'm not happy about where I'm at with my career, did I really have a plan? Was I really determined? Was it mapped out?
Right.
And did I work hard?
Yeah, man. That's a big thing. Did you put forth the effort? Like, did you show up? Yes, showing up is going to be one of the biggest things. But it's like, you don't brush one tooth. Once you get in there, you're going to brush them all.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because, it matters.
Oh, it does. It does. So you can turn this on tomorrow, is what we're saying, right?
Yes.
Number 2 of the what to do with this, right? Make a contract with yourself.
That's a huge one right there.
We're talking about how you can take control with no money, no dollars, okay? No special education. This is what we're talking about with this stuff right now. What are you going to do with it?
Dude, that gets me fired up because my whole world changed in an instant once I negotiated that contract and signed it with myself.
Dude, if you can't put you at the center of you, what are we doing? How effective are you going to be for your ultimate impact on the rest of society and the people around you that love you, that you help, that you inspire? I mean, if you can't put you at the center of you, make a contract with yourself and stay committed to it, you're leaving so much money on the table.
That's part of having compassion for others, is having that commitment to yourself.
Oh, yes.
And following through.
Oh, yes, it is. And lastly, it is as simple as flipping on a switch. Activate it. Activate the great, man.
Yeah, man.
Flip the switch.
It's just like that.
Like that.
It's just a choice, man.
It is. It is. So don't forget to work hard, have compassion for others, and let's step up this awareness and consciousness. It's good for everybody. We'll catch you next time. Want to take a quick minute to thank our sponsor, ccmindiana.com, for all your mortgage needs. Very competitive, ready to rock, ready to help you be a pre-approved buyer that can compete. Ready to get pre-approved for your next mortgage? Stop by ccmindiana.com and see how we can help.